Well, good afternoon. My name is Brother Jake Fry, and we are here at Emmanuel Baptist Church. And this is your midweek word for this week. This week is going to be a little bit different. You'll notice that I'm here in our sanctuary because this week, on June 7th, we are going to finally be together again. We're going to regather for the first time since we've had to stop meeting due to COVID-19. And so what I want to do this week is going to be a little different than most weeks. Usually we have a little devotion type video, and there'll still be a devotional aspect to it towards the end. But this week what I wanted to do was just share some guidelines with you. Some of you may have received the newsletter in the mail by now, and I wanted to share that with you and kind of go over that with you so maybe you'd know what to expect on Sunday when we're here this Sunday morning on June 7th. So I'm actually going to be going through the letter that I wrote that's also in the newsletter. So we'll look at this together and just discuss a few things. One, let me say this as we start off. These restrictions, there are some of these guidelines that we're having to deal with starting off. I understand that they can be kind of frustrating, and I get that. I understand that they can be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for me as your new pastor. Really, even though I've been preaching now for about 2 months, it's going to be hard for me not to want to come up and hug you and shake your hand, because this will really be the first service where we've been together and I've been your pastor. So please understand that this is also difficult for me as well. But we need to have grace with each other. We need to be wise with how we interact with each other, and just be patient with each other. We're not all going to be on the same level. Some of us are going to be a little nervous. Some of us may have health issues that we may need to distance ourselves more than others may want to distance themselves, and we need to be respectful of each other in that. And just keep that in mind on Sunday morning when we get together. But just know that we are one body. This is not going to be something that brings discord among us. It's not going to be something that breaks the unity of our church. So just remember that as we're meeting together. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, or the greeting each other in fellowship, and I've kind of already mentioned this. I know usually, when you haven't seen each other for a while, the first thing you want to do is sit and congregate in a group and talk with one another. And unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to do that on Sunday morning. Now, if you say, hey, there's a brother or sister that I want to talk to, I need to stand near them and talk to them, I'd just encourage you to do that out in the parking lot and not in the sanctuary, because we want to stay as socially distant as possible for the time being. Now, of course, we have every other pew roped off, and that doesn't mean you can't talk at all in the sanctuary. I'm not trying to say that or go to that extreme, but just try to keep from congregating in groups before and after the service. When you enter before the service, it would probably be wise to just go ahead and find where you're going to be seated and talk at a distance. Hey, it's okay to be a little loud Sunday morning. If you need to get your message across to somebody down the pew across from you, that's fine. But we want to be social distancing. Another thing is after the service, we want to talk about how good it is to see each other again, how we felt the service went, all those kind of things. But please just recognize that once we dismiss the service, we want to encourage you to leave from the sanctuary and stay social distancing and to leave as quickly as possible. I don't mean for that to sound the way it sounds, but we don't want to stay here and cause germs to spread or anything like that. So just bear with one another. I know it's going to feel weird, but we're going to get through this together. Another thing is seating. You'll notice, and you may be able to see it a little bit in the background, Brother Mark and Miss Hilda came by yesterday. I want to thank them for doing this. They actually took a red ribbon that matches our carpet and they marked off every other pew. So you're going to see this when you come in Sunday morning. Every other pew is going to be marked off, roped off, and we're doing that to just make sure that we're following social distancing rules. Now, when you do sit together, please remember that you can sit close to your family. You've been doing that at home. So we encourage family units to sit close together if you can. Now, I know for some of you that's going to be difficult. You don't have family that comes with you. Now, I understand that. But if you have people who are sitting on the same pew as you, that's fine. But make sure you guys are staying 6 feet apart if you can. I know we have pew buddies, and that's good, and I'm thankful for that fellowship in our church. Now, I don't want to discourage that by any means, but just remember that we want to follow those social distancing guidelines, as hard as that may be. Another thing is masks. Now, here's the deal. We're not going to require masks because someone may show up and they forgot their mask, or we may have a visitor come this Sunday morning, and we're not going to turn away people from coming into church. We're just not going to do that. So if you come here and you have forgotten a mask, Miss Mildred Warrington has been making masks for us, has been sewing some of those for us. So we're so thankful for her and how she's been using the talent God has given her for the glory of God. And so this is just one way she's decided to serve the church. So we will have some masks available for you if you forget them or you don't have them. Now, if you do have your own mask that you've been wearing, I encourage you to wear that mask, because we don't just want to blow the supply that we have on the first Sunday. Now, that being said, again, we're not requiring you to wear a mask. We're not going to turn away if you show up without a mask. But I do want to strongly encourage you to wear a mask. And I'm going to try to lead by example in that. I'm going to be wearing a mask Sunday morning. Brother Mark's going to be wearing a mask Sunday morning. And the only time that we will not be wearing a mask is if Brother Mark's up leading music at the piano, or if I'm preaching. I'm not going to be wearing a mask while I'm preaching. But even in the invitation time, I want to put my mask back on in case someone wants to come forward and meet with me. And that's another thing I want to bring up is invitation. We will never turn away anyone who wants to come to the altar and pray. But please just be mindful of that, and not just you don't want to stay separated from each other at the altar just because of COVID-19, but really just because of privacy's sake. You know, you don't want to invade someone's privacy while they're trying to pray about something very personal. But don't be afraid to come to me and talk with me about those things. And if need be, we'll set up a time and we'll go sit in my office and we'll talk about it. But don't be afraid to come forward during the invitation time if you feel like you need to do that. Another thing that we can discuss is our tithes and offerings. How are we going to do that? Because for years and years, the tradition has been and the practice has been, let's take an offering plate and pass that around. And obviously with what we're dealing with right now, we're not going to be able to do that. So what you'll see Sunday morning, for right now if this changes, we will let you know on Sunday morning. But right now, so I'm sitting on the very front pew across from the pulpit. Pulpit's right behind the camera. So on my left side, there will be an offering plate next to the door over here. And there will also be an offering plate on the right side over here. Now, if any one of those gets moved, we will let you know on Sunday morning where those are. We'll remind you again if they stay in the same place. But what we're going to do, we're not going to have a march or anything like that in the middle of the service. Just either when you come in or as you're going out or at some point while you're here, if you have a tithe and offering to give and you want to do that, just drop it off at some point during the service, either as you're coming in or leaving. And we'll also have hand sanitizer at each of those places as well. And you'll also notice when you're coming in that there'll be a hand sanitizing station here located on the side door facing the parking lot next to my office. So as soon as you come in, you'll have a chance to use hand sanitizer if you'd like to do that. Another thing I want to mention is our schedule. I know I'm dealing with a lot, so please bear with me for a few moments. But our schedule, we're going to be opening up with a soft opening or a soft regathering. Now, what we mean by that is we're only going to have morning services. We're going to meet at 10:55, our normal worship time. We're not going to have Sunday school, Sunday night or Wednesday night starting off. Now, we're going to be talking with each other. I want to hear what people have to say about when they feel comfortable and just see when people feel safe to start doing Sunday night, Wednesday night again. But either way, I do believe that we'll have to do Sunday night and Wednesday night in the sanctuary starting off because there's really no way we could responsibly social distance in the fellowship hall for right now. So again, it's going to look different at first, but hopefully we can gradually work back into some things as well. But for sure, this Sunday, no Sunday school, no Sunday night. We're only going to have the morning service at 10:55. And now let me finish these guidelines with two quick things. First, some of you have asked about online services. And I have received a lot of feedback from that. Some of our members who were not able to come on Sundays due to health reasons and, irregardless of COVID-19, they just weren't able to come. And maybe that's where you are right now. Or maybe you work, but you're a member of the church and you're not able to come on Sunday mornings. But, it's a lot easier to listen to it on Sunday afternoon after you get off or Monday morning when you're off. I realize the advantage of online services and videoing those. Let me say first, it may be a while before we can actually video a service, just because there's going to be some money involved in doing that. We just want to make sure that we do it right. So we're hoping that eventually in the future we will be able to video our services, but we want to take our time. We want to make sure we're spending the money needed for that responsibly, and we want to make sure that we're doing it well because it will be a reflection on our church, and also we just want to give God the best we have to offer in that and to glorify Him with the skills that He has given us. And so that may take some time. So just because we don't put up videos starting off doesn't mean we won't ever. We hope to work towards that at some point. Now, I will say this, I'm working on trying to figure out a way to at least get an audio recording for us. And so once we're able to do that, hopefully we'll be able to post those online on Facebook. So I can promise you there won't be a video at first, but we're trying to at least have audio recording so you can sit and listen to those. And we will do that to the best of our ability. So bear with us at first, but we're going to still keep trying to do that. Midweek word videos, they will continue. We're going to keep doing this. Even when we have regular Wednesday night services, I'm planning on having a midweek word video every Wednesday that comes out. So still be looking for those. And finally, if you're not sure about whether you should come back, maybe you have a compromised immune system, or you have certain things that would limit you, that you don't need to be in big crowds, or maybe you're just anxious. Maybe you're elderly and you're more at risk. Listen, I get it and I understand. And if you are uncomfortable coming back to church right now, I totally get it. I understand. And I just want to remind you that I personally do not feel like that you will be in sin for not coming, especially starting off, if you're anxious, if you're genuinely worried about being here, being in a large group of people. I just think that you should make that decision on your own. Let the Lord lead you in that. Follow the Spirit's guiding. And don't think that anyone's going to think less of you if you're not here, the first few Sundays. We understand. So don't feel bad about that. You're not forsaking your church. You're not forsaking the assembly. You're providentially hindered, as many of us pastors would say. And so it's just not possible for you to be here, and we get it. We understand. Now, as we close, I do want to bring this more to a devotional point, and I want to thank some people who have been such a great help to me during this time. I think of people like Miss Sally. She has been such a blessing to me, and just trying to help me learn the ropes. So bless her heart. I've probably given her a handful, just for me, just trying to understand, how things work, and she's been so patient with me, and willing to work with me, and I'm just so thankful for Miss Sally and the way she serves our church. Brother Mark, who has come in just about every week and has done music in some way or another. And Brother Mark has done this all while working as hard as he can at his other job. And so I just want to thank him for his help. Brother Bart Graves, and you all know the blessing he is to this church. But he has received many phone calls from me with questions and text messages. Hey man, what do you think about this? Or do you think this is okay? I mean, we've talked a lot. And then there's been Miss Beverly and Miss Faye who have come, and they have decorated the church. The church has still remained beautiful, even though there hasn't been very many people in it. They have decorated, and it's just, honestly, it's helped me preaching, because I still felt like I was at church, and people still cared about the church. And then I just think about so many others who have been so helpful. Brother Bill Yates, who, even though we're not together, the grass did not stop growing. And so Brother Bill has been faithful. He still comes and mows the yard every week. He's been a great encouragement to me. Brother Don Holland, he has given a lot of wisdom to me. And different ones who have helped me. The church council, we came together and talked about this. And you guys gave up some of your time to decide when we should meet again. And let me just say that there was unity in that room. It was peaceful, and I'm thankful for that. And just so many different others who have helped. And really, I want to just thank all of our church family, because I've received text messages and phone calls of encouragement from so many of you. And it's just reminded me, and I hope this time has reminded you, that we are a church family for a reason. And just because we're not able to gather together does not mean that we are not a church family. Because the church is not this empty room that I'm sitting in right now. The church are the people who are watching this video right now. And so I'm just so thankful for you. I want to let you know how much I love you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on June 7th. And I want to close with this, because we've thanked people. We've made plans for this Sunday. But there's only one who deserves glory and honor, because God Himself has brought this church through these past 2 months. And so listen to this out of Psalm 115, verse 1. Not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory, for the sake of your steadfast love and faithfulness. Not to us, not to anyone that we've mentioned, not to me, not to Brother Mark, as we've been on the videos weekly. There's no one to give glory to except the Lord Jesus Christ Himself, because He is the head of this church. He has sustained this church just like we've trusted Him to. He has kept this church going, and the reason we're going to be together on June 7th is because King Jesus has taken care of Emmanuel Baptist Church. And so let's give Him honor, let's give Him glory this week as we come together Sunday morning. Let's be sure, yes, we're going to be so happy to see each other, but let's be sure to give praise and honor to glory to King Jesus, because it is Him. He is the reason why we're going to be able to be together again. Friends, I love you. I know this was a different midweek word. It was a little bit longer for this week, but I'm just so thankful for you, and I'm thankful that we're going to be back together again soon. I'll see you in person on Sunday morning.